Hi everyone! Today we are going to present the Tslb1074 Fundamentals of Grammar. Task 2, Oral Presentation. We will be focused on tenses and voice. Before we start, let me introduce our team members, which are Yvonne Awen In, Tu Jing In, and Joanne Won Yu. Today, we will be studying types of tenses, and we are going to focus on present tense, past tense, and voices. First of all, we are going to talk about present tense. What is present tense? Present tense is a tense expressing an action that is currently going on or habitually performed, or a state that generally exists. It can be used to talk about the present and also future. There are 4 types of present tense, which are present simple, present progressive, present perfect, and present perfect progressive. These 4 types of present tense have different functions and structures when they are used in different sentences. First is present simple. Present simple is used when an action is happening right now, or when it happens regularly. Therefore, it is sometimes called present indefinite. Present simple is formed by using the root form or by adding s or es to the end of a verb. These are 2 examples that use present simple in a sentence. First, he likes to eat apple. In this sentence, the verb like is added with s because the subject is he. While the second sentence, I jog every morning in the park. Jog is not added with s as the subject is I. Next, we are going to talk about the concept of present simple. When the subject are I, you, we, and they, the verb is not added as. While on the other hand, when the subject are he, she, or it, the verb is added with s. In affirmative or positive condition, the subject is added with am, is, are, or the verb. For example, the cat licks its fur. For negative condition, subject is added with am, is, or are, following by not, or subject add do or does, following by not, and add verb. For example, Chris doesn't want to join the game. For the last one, which is the interrogative, which is a question, am, is, or are is added with the subject, or do or does is added with the subject, following by a verb. For instance, do you want to go on the trip? These are 4 conditions to use present simple. The first one is in facts or truths. For example, ice melts when it is hot. The second one is permanent condition. For example, I live in Malaysia. The third one is habits. For instance, John drinks coffee every morning. For this condition, we can identify by using keywords like twice a month, on Sunday, usually, sometimes, and seldom. The fourth is future plans or schedules. For example, he goes to Cebu next week. Same as habits. This condition can also be identified by using keywords such as until, as soon as, after, and tomorrow. The next one is present progressive. Present progressive is used to describe an ongoing action in the present or an activity that is in progress. Present progressive is in the form of be plus verb inflected with ing. For example, the verb go. We are going to the museum now. Are going in the sentence shows the action is being carried out right now. For the second sentence, the verb finish can be used in the sentence. Lily is finishing her homework at the moment. Is finishing shows that the homework is being done just at the time. Here are the concepts of present progressive. When the subjects are I, you, we, and they, the sentence is using are following by verb inflected with ing. While when the subjects are he, she, and it, the sentence is using is following by verb inflected with ing. In affirmative condition, subject is added with am, is, are, following by verb inflected with ing. Example: the teacher is scolding a naughty student. In negative condition, the subject is following by am, is, are, and not, following by verb inflected with ing. For example, you are not listening. And the last one, interrogative, a question. The sentence will start with an, is, or are, following by subject, added with verb inflected with ing. For example, are you sleeping in the class? Here are the conditions to use present progressive. There are 5 conditions listed here. The first one, event that is happening now. I am doing the house chores. The second one, temporary event in progress. My family is staying in Kuching until Saturday. The third one, future plan. For example, Ivy is traveling to Hong Kong next month. The fourth is trends or changes. For example, nowadays, many people is using online shopping applications rather than going to brick-and-mortar stores. The fifth, longer action. For example, my cousin is studying in Swinburne University. The third one in present tense is present perfect. Present perfect is used for past actions. They are directly related to or continue into the present. It is helped by auxiliary verbs have and has. These are 2 examples. The first one, I have eaten a piece of bread and a cup of tea in the morning. In this sentence, have eaten shows the action of eating is recently happened. The second sentence, they have studied for almost 5 hours. Have studied in this sentence shows that the action of studying has continued from the past until now. The concept of present perfect. When the subject are I, you, we, and they, the sentence uses have following by past participle. On the other hand, when the subject are he, she, or it, the sentence uses has following by past participle. In affirmative or positive condition, the subject is following by have or has and added with past participle. You have read the book for 2 days. In negative situation, subject is following by have or has added with a word not and following by past participle. He has not eaten anything since yesterday. In interrogative or question, Have has is added with subject following by past participle. For example, have you watched that movie? The conditions to use present perfect contains 6 conditions here. The first one, unspecified time. My brother has participated in the camp. Finish event connected to now. Example, the baby has drunk too much milk. The third one, duration. He has practiced piano for 8 years. In this kind of conditions, we can identify by looking at the keywords like for and since. The fourth one is repetition. For example, I have called her 10 times. The fifth one, unfinished time periods. For example, Jonathan and Rainy have been busy with their jobs this year. The keywords can be identified are today, this month, and this week. The last one is completion or achievement. For example, I have brushed my teeth. The last one in present tense is present perfect progressive. Present perfect progressive is used to show that an action started in the past and has continued up to present. It emphasizes duration or the amount of time that an action has been taking place. It is formed with the format have or has been following by verb inflected with ing. For example, I have been waiting for 30 minutes here. Have been waiting shows that the action of waiting has lasted for 30 minutes. The second sentence, Siti has been learning Spanish for 3 months. Has been learning shows the learning starts 3 months ago until today. And the concept of present perfect progressive are when the subject are I, you, we, they. The sentence will be have been following by verb inflected with ing. While when the subject are he, she, or it, the sentence will use has been following by verb inflected with ing. In positive condition, subject is added with have or has plus been plus present participle. The dog has been lying on the floor since noon. In negative condition, subject is added with have or has added not, added been plus present participle. For example, I have not been dancing for years. And the last one, interrogative, have or has is added with subject plus been plus present participle. Have you been listening to K-pop music since primary school? And for the conditions to use present perfect progressive, the first one, present result. I have been working as an engineer, so I know a lot of knowledge about physics and engineering. The second one is period. The shop has been opening since 2019. In this condition, keywords can be identified as since and for. And the last one, temporary event. For example, we have been going to Sabah a lot recently. The keyword is recently.
Thank you, Jing-Ying, for explaining about the present tense. Next is the past tense. Past tense is a tense expressing an action that has happened or a state that previously existed. There are 4 types of past tense, which are past simple, past perfect, past progressive, and past perfect progressive. Past simple is a basic form of past tense. It is used to talk about a completed action in a time before now. The time of the action can be in the recent past or the distant past. The action of the duration is not important in past simple. For the first example in past simple, she went to school yesterday. The original word of went is go, which is in the present form. The action happened in the past, so went is used in the sentence. And for the next example, Kelly stayed in Canada for 2 years. The present form of stay that is injected with ed is stay, stay. The action happened in the past, so the past tense is used in the sentence. This is the conversion of present simple to past simple. There are two types of the conversion, which are regular past tense and irregular past tense. In regular past tense, the words are injected with ed. As an example, washed, bake, cook, and ask. For the irregular past tense, the words are not injected with ed. As an example, fall will be converted to fell in past simple tense, and eat will be converted to ate, buy will be converted to bought, and sleep will be converted to slept. As for the second one is the past progressive. Past progressive is an action that was ongoing at the time in the past. The word is injected with ing at the end. It is also known as past continuous. As an example, the past progressive will have an ing at the back of the word, and the main verb is used. Like wash, there's was in front of the word wash, and ing is injected at the verb. Like was washing, was making, was doing, and was cooking. The usage of past progressive is to describe the ongoing actions in the past. As an example, Karen was playing mobile game for the whole night. This is the primary function of the past progressive tense. It is used to describe actions or events that were happening at a specific point in the past. This indicates that the action of playing mobile game was in progress throughout the night. The next one is polite inquiries and expressions of annoyance. As an example, he was always interrupting me during the meeting. The past progressive tense can be used in a polite way to make inquiries or express the annoyance about a past situation. The third one of the usage of past progressive is to express two ongoing actions that were happening simultaneously in the past. As an example, while my mother was cooking, her phone rang. This usage is helpful when describing two or more actions that were occurring at the same time in the past. Example: while my mother was cooking dinner, her phone rang. This sentence conveys the idea that two actions, which are cooking and phone ringing, were happening at the same time. Thirdly, past perfect. Past perfect is used to describe actions that occur in the past but are still relevant to the present. Past perfect is an action or situation that started in the past and continues in the present. It is formed by using the past tense of the auxiliary verb to have, followed by the past participle of the main verb. These are the examples of conversion of infinitive to past perfect. The infinitive such as to be, when it has to be changed to past perfect, we have to write it as had been. The same concept applies to the infinitive to have, and we will have to write it as had. Also, infinitive to say, in the past perfect form, we will write it as had said. And lastly, for infinitive to go, in the past perfect form, we will write it as had gone. This is the example of past perfect. Before I arrived at the party, they had already eaten all the pizza. I arrived at the party is the main action in the past. They had already eaten all the pizza is the action that was completed before the main action. The past perfect tense had eaten indicates that this action occurred before the arrival at the party. The past perfect helps to establish a clear sequence of events in the past and show which action happened first. This is the difference between past perfect and simple past. In the simple past form, they played basketball before they finished their homework, and as for past perfect, they play basketball after they had finished their homework. And as for past perfect, they had played basketball after they had finished their homework. Here, the past perfect tense emphasizes that both playing basketball and finishing homework were completed actions in the past, and playing basketball happened after finishing homework. Lastly, past perfect progressive. It is a continuous action started in the past and was completed before another event in the past. It is also known as past perfect continuous. The function of past perfect progressive is to express the duration of an ongoing action before another action in the past. Example: Rina had been sleeping for 2 hours before the party started. In this sentence, the past perfect progressive tense had been sleeping indicates that the action of studying was ongoing for a specific duration before the starting of the party. The next function of past perfect progressive is to explain the causes and effects in the past. As an example, she was sore because she had been exercising vigorously for weeks. The past perfect progressive sentence had been exercising indicates the continuous and vigorous exercise routine that led to the soreness.
Thank you for tuning in and joining. Now we will continue to look at the voice. The meaning of the voice. Voice refers to if a word is active or passive. It is important to be able to recognize this as it can help you to determine which noun in the sentence is performing the action. There are two grammatical voices in English, active voice and passive voice. In active voice, the subject is performing an action. For example, Yvonne chases the ball. In this sentence, note that the subject, Yvonne, is performing the action chase on the target of the action, the ball. In passive voice, the subject is receiving an action. For example, the ball is chased by Yvonne. In this sentence, the subject, the ball, is receiving the action of being chased by the agent Yvonne. There are two types of sentences, active sentence and passive sentence. Active sentence, the noun in the sentence which performs the action is at the beginning of the sentence before the verb. For passive sentence, the noun in the sentence which performs the action is at the end of the sentence after the verb and introduced by the preposition by. Now we will look at some examples of active sentence and passive sentence. Firstly, the active sentence is Angel prepared a delicious meal. The passive sentence is a delicious meal was prepared by Angel. Secondly, the active sentence is Madam Ann explained the lesson to Elaine. The passive sentence is the lesson was explained to Elaine by Madam Ann. Now, as we all know, normally people choose to use active voice. But why? Here are some of the reasons. Firstly, when individuals are first learning English, the emphasis of using active voice is often reinforced. Secondly, active voice is usually more straightforward and easier to read. Thirdly, active voice helps learners associate subjects with actions, making it easier for them to understand the basic relationship between different parts of a sentence. So, why should we learn about passive voice? Why does it even exist? It is because actually there are situations where passive voice is appropriate or even necessary. Now we are looking at the reasons or conditions when people will choose passive voice over active voice. Firstly, when the subject is unknown. For example, the house was built 20 years ago. In this sentence, we don't know who built the house, so the subject is unknown. Therefore, it is suitable to use passive voice to make this sentence. Secondly, when we want to intentionally trying to minimize the guilt of the subject. For example, the mistake was made by me. Thirdly, in certain situations, using passive voice can better emphasize the main point of the message by shifting the focus from the doer of the actions to the action itself and its recipient. This can be particularly effective when the action or process is more crucial than the identity of the person performing it. In this example, the decision to proceed was supported by the entire team. The emphasis is on the decision to proceed rather than singling out individuals within the team. So, in grammar rule, passive voice always require a double verb, and double verb means the verb to be plus past participle. Basically, for passive voice, the object is fronted into the subject slot. The subject is placed after the verb. Excuse me. The examples of verb to be are am, is, are, was, were, have, been. For past participle, in regular verbs, they will follow a predictable pattern when performing their past tense and past participle. Their past participle is the words end with ed. For irregular verbs, they do not follow the regular pattern when forming their past tense and past participle. For example, their past participles is definitely a word without adding ed. The example is, for regular verbs, the best form of could is could. The past participle of the word could is could added with ed at the back. The sentence is, dinner is cooked by Lian. For irregular verbs, the best form of it is it, but the past participle of the word it is eaten. The example of the sentence is, an apple is eaten by Zoe. Now we are looking at the relationship between tenses and voice. First, the relationship between past tense and passive voice. Normally, we know that for regular verbs, past tense and passive voice both use past participle. For example, Jing-Ying wanted a new laptop. This sentence is representing a past tense. Next, a new laptop was wanted by Jing-Ying. This sentence is representing a passive voice, but as we can see, both of them uses past participle, that is the word want. Now, we are looking at the conditions where tenses and voice are together. Transitive verbs have both tenses and voice. The distinction between active and passive voice applies only to transitive verbs. For example, most of the time, for regular verbs in active voice, the past participle identifies the past tense only. For example, Douglas played badminton. However, in passive voice, the verb to be identifies tenses. For present tense, badminton is played by Douglas. For past tense, badminton was played by Douglas. In this situation, the verb to be identifies the tenses which specify the time of the action. In conclusion, verb tense is the end of the verb tense is to specify time of the actions. For instance, present tense, past tense, and future tense. Other than that, voice is used to show relationship between a subject and the action expressed by the verb. That's all from us, and these are the reference lists that we use to find information to prepare for our material for this presentation. That's all from us. Thank you for your time and attention.